What if I force it? That'll be funny, right? Maybe? Yeah?
We'll take the terrible teammate computers from this one.
James, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm creating a bad idea smoothie so I can show it to people and say, you don't have to make this, I already did. You don't even have to try.
You missed the Battle Pass thing from Star Rush that locked vital elements of gameplay behind an arbitrary point system that rewards asking your friends to join just so they can intentionally lose every minigame so you can unlock stuff.
Oh, good point.
Did you already add in the motion-controlled minigames?
Yeah, but I removed all the fun from them.
Oh, you should add in going back to the very first menu of the whole game just to add players or change your character.
You're right. Alright, this thing's pretty full. Let's blend this and see what happens.
That's just Jamboree.
I didn't add an ND cube this time, though. I added in something called Nintendo Cube?
That's the same thing, it's a rebrand.
Oh,
Flap your party pants and don your fun hat because Mario Party is back! This time it's a Jamboree. Instead of Super Duper Mario Party or Super Mario Party or Super Mario Party 2, we get Jamboree. This new entry in Nintendo's long-running luck and luck-based spin-off series where bitter rivals become buddies, stars never belong to you for more than 2 turns, and even your friends have no loyalty.
you said luck twice.
Is it anything else this time?
Honestly, no, not really. Just like Super Mario Party and Superstars, this installment was developed by Nintendo Cube, formerly ND Cube. So our campaign to hand development of the series to anyone else, even fucking Camelot, has failed once more. So let's see what we get this time.
Party Plaza! Welcome to the Party Plaza. This is where you pick how many players and which characters y'all will play. If ever you want to switch your character, you gotta come all the way back here and talk to this toad. So pick wisely because doing that is really annoying and stops the game dead. From here, you'll be able to check your records, buy cards, stickers to decorate those cards with, music to listen to, and emotes you can use to communicate your distaste and excitement almost to an agonizing degree. You start every play session here, and after Toad gives you a tour, you proceed to the next menu area. Hot Air Balloon!
Toad will give you a tour of this very self-explanatory menu, specifically if you know anything about Mario Party or saw any of the trailers. If you think rotating to each island or using L and R to scroll is stupid, use the map to easily and quickly decide where to go.
Goody! More menus!
You love menus.
Specifically superfluous ones.
Let's check out each of these areas, Andy.
Rhythm Kitchen! This mode pits you and 3 other characters in a series of rhythm-based, food-focused minigames that James and I loathed as we lack any musical talent of any kind. You'll butter bread, slice veggies, and present dishes to Yoshi judges in a challenge that requires you to follow a beat and use the motion controls. At the end of these, you unlock the next difficulty, which will add more minigames and torture 2 people with no sense of rhythm even further.
The bread buttering one is the worst.
Whether or not we have any sense of rhythm, I can't help but notice these minigames feel unfair. All 4 players are supposed to follow a beat, right? Then how come sometimes some players just don't have to do anything? How come sometimes the music just goes completely quiet? How come the beat speeds up in the middle of the action? I can understand ramping up the difficulty, but when the primary rule of a minigame is the beat, it seems wrong to mess with it willy-nilly.
Toad's Item Factory. Dropping our overly excited tone for a second here, this mode is actually interesting.
Somewhat.
You and up to 3 friends must work together using one Joy-Con apiece to move a sphere from one end of an area to the other using a series of simple machines controlled by your Joy-Con. Rotate your arm to operate a fan, slide it horizontally or vertically to control a moving platform, rotate the controller to spin a bumper. Do all you can to get 3 balls per level where they need to go.
It's difficult and can take one person who wants to see progress and a gremlin who hates thinking and wants instant results several hours to complete.
We eventually completed all of it.
It'd be faster if you just thought a little bit more about your...
Moving on.
Paratroopa Flight School! It was funny to watch James flap his arms like an idiot in this one.
What am I supposed to do?
In this motion-controlled mode, you use both Joy-Con like wings to flap and glide yourself to different passengers waiting to be picked up and brought to other locations. They'll shift and panic as you lose altitude too fast, dive wrong, and almost tip the basket over.
Who thought this was fun? I want to find them and lick every doorknob in their house!
You can also ask your nearby friends to grab a second pair of Joy-Con and join you to compete or work together, but this looked hard. And James is panicking a bit.
Go up! Fly! Oh my god!
How about we move on?
Ah!
Minigame Bay!
This is where you'll play minigames. You can go to free play to beeline it over to Waluigi's Pinball or go to any of the other modes, which we didn't. There's also a boss rush you can unlock after finishing the single player mode, but we'll get to that later.
We really like Waluigi's Pinball.
Multi-ball, 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 multi-ball! Oh my god!
Out of Jamboree's staggering 112 minigames, it's easily our favorite. But how are the others?
Overall, we didn't find ourselves all that impressed with the minigame lineup. The presentation is nice and the controls are simple and responsive, but we never found ourselves looking forward to playing any particular minigame during party mode like we do in other Mario Party games.
There's an annoying number of minigames where the whole point is paying attention to differences in images. Big Top Quiz, Camera Ready, Swamp the Difference, Matchmakers, Flip and Find, a portion of Luigi's Rescue Mission, lots of Wario's Buzzer Beater, Match, That, Item, and Trading Cards. Sort of makes the over 100 minigames claim feel a bit inflated.
Plus there's a few minigames returning from previous Mario parties, but they're not really a feature as much as they were in Top 100 or Superstars. None of them will make you twist the stick though, so no palm blisters this time.
To be honest, I think the most fun we had with the minigames in Jamboree were the Koopathlon minigames. I know they're basically popcorn, but whatever, they're fun. It's additionally a shame since they're only single player despite appearing in a mode designed for 20 players. Party Planner Trek! This is a single-player mode available from the Party Plaza. For some reason, James put this mode here so that we had to go all the way back here, figure out the orientation of his controller, how many players, basically reset up everything so he can talk about this. Good job, James! Way to organize!
So Party Planner Trek is a mode in which a single player, picking whoever they want, will go across 5 out of 7 of the game's boards, helping characters by collecting things, competing in minigames, and testing out board events to make sure they work well for Mario Party mode. This is a long-winded mode that will help you do 2 things: fill out the Party Pass achievements and unlock the boss battle minigames. You can travel in any direction along the space placements to see full boards, decorations, and all. It's actually kind of cool to see the planning stages even if it's not really being planned in front of you.
I really like being able to freely roam the boards and just explore their graphics and gimmicks. Unfortunately for us, to make progress, you have to collect mini stars and play boss minigames, both from Mario Party 9. Get it out. Also, James unlocked the staff credits at the end of this mode. You're supposed to unlock it after 50 achievements. I guess there's 2 ways to get them?
Maybe I'm so good at this game, they just decided to let me have them early.
Doubtful. Bowser Challenges!
Alright, honestly, I thought these modes were going to save this entry. I was really down on them when they were revealed, and completely dismissed them after seeing they required online players to participate, which is like asking a bunch of snakes for help. Until I played them.
Alone.
Yes, you don't need online strangers to help you here. Admittedly, they're probably more useful than the computer-controlled players in this game because they're not that great either. In Bowser Kaboom Squad, you and 7 other characters must open crates and gather bombs on the field, then bring them to a cannon to shoot at Bowser. At the end of a round, which is a minute or 2, an 8-player minigame will happen which judges the group's performance. The higher the group's performance, the more choices of items you have to help fight Bowser.
Kaboom Squad minigames involve direct cooperation between you and 7 other people, but since you're either playing with computers or people across the globe, communication is lacking and things get stressful pretty quick. They're a lot of fun.
Bowser will do all he can to stop you. Things like slamming the ground, shooting fire, spinning, and just generally bumbling around. If you get hit by any of his attacks, you'll be stuck in a bubble until someone lets you out or you find a floating heart. Then you can continue the hunt for spherical explosives.
There are 3 levels to work together on, with 3 different difficulties and an unnecessary rank system. Leveling up your rank does nothing.
Unfortunately, this mode is restricted to playing alone with 7 computers or online with strangers, even though the screen can easily split down the middle for 2 players and splits 8 ways for minigames anyway. This really should have been considered for some sort of local option as well. Very dumb.
Koopathlon! In this mode, you and 19 other computers or people compete to complete 3, 5, or 7 laps around a huge board. You'll compete by playing minigames and collecting coins. Every coin is a step forward. You'll play 3 randomly picked minigames from a pile of 9. These minigames are very arcadey. You'll be able to keep track of everyone's progress on the right side of the screen while you collect. After every minigame is about 24 seconds of placements, using 1 of 4 emotes over and over, and waiting. Lots of waiting. More waiting. There we go, on to the next one. After you play all minigames once, you will compete in a Bowser minigame.
If you lose, you'll be knocked back several spaces. After that, all minigames level up in difficulty. There are 3 levels of difficulty for every non-Bowser minigame. It's not a huge jump, but it's noticeable. Oh, there are items too. They range from blooper, which will splatter ink on players' screens a la Mario Kart, to coin bonuses, which will just move you forward a few more spots.
Another case of another mode that would be improved if you could play with people in the same room who didn't have an extra copy of the game.
You go around and around on a map for as many laps as you put on there, repeating the same minigames over and over until someone wins. Then you move on to the final bit of this review, the thing we had the most to say about, so we saved it for last.
Mario Party! The reason anyone buys these games, and we're finally talking about it. Traditional board movement returns, so I guess the car remains dead for another year.
Yes!
Boards, characters, elements, colors, models, and overall look of everything in this game is still stunning. But we've returned back to the days of 10 turns taking an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. Why do 10 turns take a flippity-dippity hour and a half? Of course we all know why. Toad interrupts everything going on to explain what just happened on screen. There are 3 to 4 animations to show one thing happening. Travel is laughably slow for all human-controlled characters and can't be sped up, and the game is just abrasively slow. 10 turns is barely enough to travel around any board once, but it takes nearly
A Nehru-licking hour and a half!
to get that far. That is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Also, there is a plethora of lucky spaces that slow down the game quite a bit. These will bestow upon you coins in most cases. In fact, 99% of the time you'll get coins from these. In fact, Jamboree has more wealth pooling than I've ever seen in Mario Party. There's even an achievement for hoarding 200 coins or 7 stars at once. That's bananas to me. Of course, by turn 2 in any given Jamboree game, everyone on the board can afford a star, even if you lose the minigame, because pity points are back. If you can't reach the star, then by turn 4, you can afford to steal one using the all too easy to reach Boo, and by then your hour and a half long game is half over. Although it is exceedingly difficult to hold on to the first star of the game because of the ease of access of the Boo.
You should treat the first star as something to ignore and let everyone fight over while you figure out how to reach the second one before your 90 minutes is up. In addition to all the wealth hoarding on screen, there's also a new element to each board. Jamboree buddies! Basically partners from the last few Nintendo Cube Mario Party games. Each of these will have a specific effect on the game for the person that finds and wins them.
When you reach a buddy, they'll put all 4 characters through a showdown minigame to compete for their love. The player that found them gets an advantage in the showdown, but those don't guarantee victory. These minigames last entirely too long, or are just flat out wastes of time. The player who found the buddy should just get them. They won't hold on to them very long anyway, because any passing player immediately steals them anyway. It's all so pointless. Except Waluigi's Pinball. That one needs to have its time limit removed, so we can just play that one in perpetuity.
Also, every character in this game doesn't have a showdown minigame. Even Ninja and Pauline don't have them. Some of them are just rehashes of Mario Party minigames from previous installments. Others are rhythm-based nightmares, and Waluigi's is perfect, no notes. I do find it weird that Bowser doesn't have one, but his kid does. But whatever. It means you'll only see these 10 characters pop up as buddies in party mode ever.
What's the point then? If their loyalty is flimsier than our rule on roguelikes, and there's only 10 of the 22 characters in the game, then what's the point? It's to add to the fluff and make sure you're glued to your TV for an hour and a half. To play 10 furore-gargling turns.
If you played the several other modes before playing this one, then you may have been lucky enough to unlock the 3 boards that are meant to be in the 7-board game. If not, then you're missing nearly half of what every trailer promised. If you're wondering, but how? I'll tell you. The Mario Party Pass system returns from Star Rush. Luckily, it's not Mario Party points based. It's achievement based. There are 116 achievements in this game, and you'll only need 40 to unlock Western Land and Mario's Rainbow Castle. Western Land seems like a faithful recreation. We didn't try Rainbow Castle. We were pretty burned out by that point.
With the revival of the awful Party Pass system, it encourages players to invite a friend so they can intentionally lose every minigame, cashing in on the come in first while doing this achievements, instead of being good at the game. It's very dumb.
I'm still not over 90 minutes for 10 turns. You and I can cover 50 turns in just over 2.5 hours in the vastly superior games.
That's because those are much better games. Final thoughts.
This is a bad entry. Another bad entry. It sacrifices fun for fluff, partners return. It's like Nintendo Cube thinks they have the greatest ideas and will do almost anything to bring them back. I'm surprised the free-for-all movement mode didn't make a return. Glad, but surprised.
I feel like I need to stress again just how terrible the lucky spaces and pity points are. These cause such hideous inflation of the in-game economy and directly contradict the entire purpose of playing board events and minigames. Why bother paying attention to what's going on when you'll just get double-digit sums of coins dumped into your lap either way? In previous Mario parties, players could take turns and the most that would happen is gaining 3 coins. That wasn't a problem. It's okay for a player's turn to consist of only incremental progress, considering these games last lots and lots of turns. Pushing this idea that every turn has to have some big event with multiple animations and huge numbers shift only causes every turn to blend together and lose significance. But I do appreciate Jamboree's side modes, even if some of them do come across as tech demos for a 7-year-old console.
Oh, we should probably place this on the tier list we haven't seen since 2021. I'm thinking between 1 and 8 in the D tier. What about you?
That sounds high for Jamboree, but I reluctantly agree.
Thank you for watching our review of Super Duper Mario Party 2. What did you think of the game? Do you have a favorite minigame, and is it Waluigi Pinball? Good. Follow us for more. Thank you, and see you soon. On the couch. I know you're sitting there, watching this.
Do you think really...
I'm sitting on the couch recording this.
Oh.